Thank you very much once again. My name is Doug Both, co-convener of the South Sudan, the senior youth of South Sudan. We wish you all a Merry Christmas. I'll begin reading the statement. Members of the press, the senior youth of South Sudan is a vibrant group of peace activists, opinion leaders, and young professionals and students drawn from various corners of the Republic of South Sudan. We are non-partisan and non-aligned organization. Our work is guided by the yellow star on our national flag to preach peace, unity, and reconciliation in the divided country of South Sudan. We all aspire for South Sudan with unity of purpose, justice and equality. We resolve to reject divisions and erase tribalism that have been implanted by wanton leaders and restore nationalism and democracy in South Sudan. Professor Chinua Achebe is still right when he said, "It is clear to me that the youth and citizens who try to avoid the contemporary social and political issues of his country will end up being completely irrelevant, like that absurd man in the proverb who leaves his house burning to pursue a rat fleeing from the plane. We are all custodians of South Sudan's present and the future. We all know that South Sudan belongs to all of us. This clarion call for action can generate peace that will restore our impoverished, our impoverished populace from certain death. The death and suffering of South Sudanese is no longer a news, but a common knowledge. South Sudan is on the verge of imminent collapse due to the all-out war that broke out on 15 December 2013. South Sudanese leaders on both sides of the political divides are responsible for breeding unnecessary and unprecedented civilian suffering through the act of commission or omission. At times, the youth and the common citizenry are blamed for perfecting undesirable silence and complacency in the face of gross human rights violation for fear of reprisal, which we are now trying to check off forthwith. As year 2017 come to an end, South Sudanese living conditions have continued to mount from bad to worse and have now reached a irreparable state. Life was better off when we were under Arab monolithic regime in Khartoum. The destruction of life caused by this civil war was never witnessed before when we were fighting for secession from Sudan. Barely 6 years of independence, South Sudan have now become an equal, unstable, and disintegrated country. The warlords and unknown gunmen have taken over the country in broad daylight, killing innocent civilians in cold blood and committing other crimes such as rapes with impunity. The disregard for the rule of law has totally been defeated the efforts of peace. The 2011 South Sudan Transitional Constitution have been mutilated wittingly, turning the whole country into a slaughterhouse. Evidently, the jubilant community of South Sudan has now turned helpless, with many dreams chattering and waning. The once promising nation of South Sudan has now become a laughing stock in the region. The result of this civil war are on our faces. Millions of people are languishing in abject poverty. There are no schools and health centers in most parts of the country. South Sudan is now synonymous with disease and illiteracy. The political space has shrunken. There's no freedom of expression or media in South Sudan. We have only one state-run television, SSBC. Most print and online newspapers have been shut down until further notice. Hence, vast majority in South Sudan have no access to information. Journalists are dying and disappearing every now and then, and we condemn that with contempt we deserve. A mom nation is a nation at war with itself. However, we choose to dialogue at our own peril. We resolve to be our people's informant, and we shall continue pointing on the roads and condemn wanton human rights abuses, notwithstanding any attempt to gag us. We assemble here at the right time and at the right place. Historically, the search for peace and freedom for South Sudanese started here in Kenya. Therefore, we should be allowed to continue searching and calling for the same without hindrance, harassment, intimidation, and interference. We should not be cowed or compromised in our quest for free, fairer, and democratic South Sudan. Never again shall any South Sudanese in Kenya disappear like chaff in the air, like Dong Loa, Idris Agri, who disappeared in Nairobi in January 2017. Africa Union Youth Charter is 26, 2006, is crystal clear on the youth in the diaspora. Article 21, subsection E and F decreed that state parties shall promote and protect the right of young persons living in the diaspora, and that they shall be encouraged, that they shall encourage young people in the diaspora to engage themselves in development activity in their countries of origin, and hence we are no exception. We welcome the Peace Revitalization Forum wholeheartedly, for it is timely and tenable. We have been longing for it with a bated breath. We hope this Revitalization Forum will give birth to a new year gift of peace in South Sudan. We are cognizant that agreement on the resolution of conflict in South Sudan had collapsed on 8 July 2016 when fresh war erupted at the State House, Juba. However, we believe this Revitalization Forum can yield fruits of peace and stability in South Sudan if warring factions engage in dialogue devoid of ulterior motives. We would like to seize this moment to call on leaders of the warring faction to expedite the peace process. They should bear in mind that our people are tired of persistent conflicts and refugee life. South Sudan is beautiful, rich, and spacious to accommodate all of us and our neighbors. IGAD Plus ought to have investigated and brought to the fore the ROC stakeholders who violated the peace agreement leading to its collapse in July 2016. Going forward, IGAD Plus must enforce the revocation of newly created states in South Sudan. Also, the clauses in the agreement that provide two armed groups under separate command need to be revisited and reviewed to avoid future hiccups on the implementation of the accord. Immediate release. We call on immediate release of one of the stakeholders, Riek Machar, from house arrest in South Africa. Inasmuch as we welcome the Revitalization Forum, we however call on IGAD chairperson and Ethiopian Prime Minister, His Excellency Haile Mariam Desalegn, and IGAD rapporteur, His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, to see into it that former First Vice President Dr. Riek Machar is released from illegal detention in South Africa. We condemn his detention without charges in South Africa. Dr. Machar was a key stakeholder of the agreement. He must be set free and allowed to participate directly in the Revitalization Forum comes February 2018, when peace talks resumed. His captors have not come out clear to explain to our populace the reason behind his arrest, and we don't know who they are. Those of us who are privy to the going on in South Sudan will recall that Dr. Machar did not leave Juba on his own volition. There was a military actions against him and his cohort. That is why he abandoned Juba in the aftermath of 8th July 2016 incident. Those who hold him behind bars are blatantly violating his rights and freedoms. Honestly, if we really intend to make this Revitalization Forum a success, then Dr. Riek Machar must be present in person on the negotiation table. Unless or until this Revitalization Forum is inclusive of all its stakeholders, otherwise it is dead on arrival. Moreover, we would like to thank nine opposition leaders in the peace talk who wrote a petition letter dated 22/2/2017 calling on IGAD to release Dr. Riek Machar from house arrest. Their clarion call to have Dr. Machar released is clear, objective thought and acknowledgement that peace without him would not materialize. You can see even his competitors are demanding for his unconditional release, for his detention was unjustifiable. The call to release Dr. Machar is popular among the populace who yearn for peace in South Sudan. We hereby call on the 9 opposition leaders, whom I refer to in the first statement, who signed the aforementioned petition, to walk the talk, in the sense that should IGAD and company fail to hit our call on the same, they should all boycott phase 2 of the Revitalization Forum scheduled for February 2018. From there, we will then ask IGAD to excuse itself from mediating South Sudan peace talk. Subsequently, we would request the United Nations and UN to preside over our dispute, for IGAD shall then be deemed to have failed in its assignment due to vested interests. Sadly, which is the last, we have soon received reliable report from Reuters, CGTN, and Sudan Tribune that the cessation of hostility agreement signed on 21st December 2016 has been violated. Before the ink could dry, the forces of President Salva Kiir and former wife Dr. Riek Machar have now started trading blames of attack, particularly in Koch County and Diam Jalab in western part of South Sudan. IGAD need to ask question whether those who purported to be leaders are not in control of the armies on the ground. The IGAD and its peace grantors must issue a stern warning to those who have perfected the art of violating the revered agreement on the resolution of the conflict in South Sudan, with a view to hold them directly accountable for their chaotic actions. Thank you very much. We'll have other conveners making a statement too, quite a number of them.
And I'm one of the senior youth of South Sudan that organized this press release. What I'm going to make a statement is regarding the peace. The high-level revitalization of peace is highly welcomed by the South Sudanese youth and South Sudanese citizens. But still, there are things that IGAD and the regional powers has to look into. The detention of Dr. Machar in South Africa is one of the factors. And as he was one of the original signatories to the South Sudan peace sign in August 26, 2015. So Dr. Machar has to be released from South Africa. And not only releasing him also, the ECOWAS, which is the regional body, have also to give answers, to tell the world and to tell the South Sudanese citizen what was the detention and confinement of the opposition leader in South Africa. Second to that, we have seen that a lot of atrocities are being committed on the ground. And currently, the two warring factions, including the warlord on the ground, they have started using warfare. Warfare in a sense that communities are being incited against one another. As we are talking now, there is massacre going on in Warab state between Agwak and Apuk. And these are Dinkas. There is also fighting going on in Jonglei state, Murley, killing the innocent women and children, abducting them. And also, government has a hand in it also, because government is the one arming individual group against the others. There is ongoing fighting too in Unity State and in all over the country. So the two warring factions, actually, they have narrowed down fighting and conflict in a sense that communities are the one now to finish themselves rather than, them now commanding their forces. There has also a human rights violation. Raping has been, the major, tactic being used by the forces, and torturing and also extrajudicial killing is also being part of the, the warfare. There has been also unknown gunmen, but we don't know as a citizen who is really commanding the unknown gunmen in Juba. If President Kiir is in Juba saying that he's a president, and unknown gunmen is keep terrorizing people along the highway, people it do attack people at home, robbing, looting people, and raping women at the same time. We also had the regional powers also to intervene, to investigate, the atrocities committed, regard to the conflict. Also, we have seen IGAD also is failing to use the good measures, in tackling and resolving the conflict. If IGAD is no longer to resolve the conflict, and then IGAD has now to consult the AU and the UN, so that we need South Sudan conflict to be resolved. Instead of the regional powers adding some errors based on their interests, and then we are appealing to the international community that South Sudan conflict won't be taken as portrait, but should be as to save life and resolving the conflict. So, as similar to the mentioned issue of warfare, even in the major town in East Africa, South Sudanese activists and peace activists, they are not that safe. People are being abducted, and now abducting individual, people who fled their country and are seeking protection in East Africa is unfair. It's unfair enough, and this one here, we are not accusing the East African community, but we are saying that the peace in South Sudan also should be the peace, at the entire region. Disappearing of Donglak is most condemned here, and nothing has been said about it. And international community plus the human rights group, they are keeping quiet about it. Nothing has been done about it. And not only Donglak and Agri, many of South Sudanese activists, they are appearing in Nairobi and in Tanzania and in Kampala, the same thing. So what we would like to say here is that we need peace to be resolved. And we need the regional powers to look into the South Sudan peace as something that to be in. So I think, as from now, some of my colleagues, they will also make some remark regarding these few things.
Good afternoon once again. By the name Manyok Abram. In fact, we are condemning, with a strong term possible, we are condemning IGAD and AU because they are toothless organizations. They are mixed and weak organization that has failed African problem, African issues. And at this juncture, they have never solved any African problem successful. Dr. Machar actually is the main party to the South Sudan crisis. He cannot be omitted out of the peace revitalization forum. We are calling international community actually to immediately intervene, because this is sabotage to South Sudan peace, and some organization like IGAD become the beneficiary of our problem, and that's why it is impossible, and that's why it has been taking long time without coming to resolution. We are calling international community to intervene immediately. All that has been happening in South Sudan, the state parties and actually the regional government have their own interest in this conflict. If they have failed, they should actually quit being the negotiators of the South Sudan peace. We are very disappointed for them to be actually partisan without actually looking into how South Sudanese people are suffering. This is actually very inhuman, and they should not, and they will not again drill us into conflict. And at this juncture, ladies and gentlemen, we are calling the immediate resolution for our conflict. We are tired of war, and we are the one being actually snatched over here in Nairobi. We are the one being killed back home. Our women, our children are the ones suffering the most over this conflict. Please, if somebody watch this later, let him understand that South Sudanese are tired of war and they don't want anyone in South Sudan to suffer anymore. AU should not, to me, should not be the one to be consulted to be part of this negotiation, because they have done nothing before and they will never do anything. So IGAD should quit. It should go, and the international community has to intervene for us to have peace. Thank you so much.
Report of violation from part of South Sudan in Unity State, and particularly from southern part of Unity State, Coach County. We condemn such violations, and we want the party to be reminded that they should stick to such agreement. We also want to make it clear that let the world or the IGAD or the AU not be cheated that there is an agreement being implemented recently in Juba. The agreement collapsed on the 8th of July 2016 at the time when the party resumed war in Juba. That is a fact. There is no agreement, and we know for a fact that our people have suffered enough. The civilian number of our people live in foreign countries. We have almost 1.something million people displaced. Those are in Uganda, in Kenya, in Ethiopia, in Sudan. And some people have gone as far as crossing the Mediterranean Sea, going to Europe. We have lost a lot of people through that desperate journey. And we also know for a fact that some of South Sudanese youth are in Libya. And if you have listened to the inhumane treatment being given to black African in Libya, we know South Sudanese youth are part of those. And it was not because of their choice. They never wanted to go to Europe. They have been forced because of such war. So the call from us is that we need peace. We're tired. Our people are tired in living in foreign countries. So everybody wants to go home, but there is no home to go if there's no peace. So we urge our leaders that this time around we expect nothing from them but peace. Whether it is in January, whether it is in March, it is in May. But when it is signed, we want to believe that that will be a genuine peace that will never take us back to war. We also ask the IGAD, and especially the people who have been given responsibility to oversee the implementation or the site for peace, President Uhuru Kenyatta, at the rapporteur of the agreement, to make sure that he presses those that he can be able to tell that what we need in the region is peace. There have been a lot of development in the neighboring country, but at least in our part, we know nothing but war. But this time around, we are committed to peace, and we will continue searching for it until it is achieved. We also condemn the abductions of political leaders, human rights activists, and to be specific, the abduction of Peter Gadet, the press secretary of Dr. Machar, who was taken here in Kenya against his will. We also condemn the abduction of human rights activist Dong Luak and a political leader, Adris. So agree. So we condemn such thing, and we demand that we would be informed about their whereabouts. The people of South Sudan want to know where these people have gone, and I think if such are addressed, then we will be good to go. From this point in time, we know a lot of things are happening in our country, and we do not want to be refugees forever. So that's why we bring this to the attention of everybody, that our people need nothing but peace, and peace without justice cannot come. And that's why we call for the release of Dr. Machar, so that he can participate, and he knows that he's a person with a lot of responsibility. So should it happen that he's released, we expect nothing from him but a language of peace, a peace that will be lasting. Thank you so much. maybe
for interest of time, we can allow the guy who will speak in Swahili.
Jana kutoka Sudan Kusini tumekusanya hapa sisi kama viongozi vijana kuhusu kile kinaendelea kule kwetu Sudan Kusini. Tunajua ya kwamba wananchi wa Sudan Kusini wamekuwa kwa tabani kutoka mwezi wa Disemba 2013. Kama vijana tuko hapa, hatuna uhusiano na viongozi wala chama chochote kutoka Sudan Kusini. Tumekuja hapa tukiwa na mito moja ambayo tunataka viongozi wa South Sudan ama Sudan Kusini wachukua uongozi ili watu wao ama wananchi wa South Sudan wapate amani. Tuko na mito tuko pia na mito ambayo tunataka eneo ya IGAD ama Afrika Mashariki walete wana viongozi wa South Sudan ama Sudan Kusini wakuja pamoja na walete amani kwa nchi yao. Tulikuwa na wana South Sudan, mmoja anaitwa Lockdown na Itri Agri ambao walichukuliwa bila sababu